We're on a farm this morning. Not a hay farm, not a vegetable farm or corn farm. We are at a Christmas tree farm, Aaron's Tree Farm. And I'm happy to be talking to Gary Ham. He and his wife Linda have received an award, and I'm going to put this up here, Gary, and you tell me about you winning this.
This award was for the best management practices here in the state of Tennessee. And what it is about sustainable practices that one might use on the farm. And of course these, we're on the Christmas tree farm, which is a portion of the forestry aspect of what we do on our farm. And we're 244 acres, and the majority of our farm is forested. The open land, which was mostly tobacco and hay fields, was basically ravaged. We have not put any chemicals on our farm since planting these Christmas trees. We've corrected issues of erosion on our farm by adding a pond or two in different areas. Many of the sustainable practices have included, as I mentioned before, bat boxes to bring those type of animals and provide homes for them. We're in the Conservation Reserve program, we're in the CSP programs here in the state of Tennessee, and we also like to educate.
You have a cash crop of Christmas trees and blueberries. Let's start here.
Okay, well this is a white pine, and they take one shearing per year.
Uh-huh. Well, what about
Eastern white pine?
I see some new growth happening on this one now. When it comes time for cutting, that will not be this color, would it? It would be more all the same color.
That's correct. This portion of the tree is hardened off, and this was some sporadic new growth that continued. Once we have sheared the tree, you'll see the new growth starts right here. That's getting ready for next year. So this tree has been sheared during the warmest times, which is right at June.
Okay.
And that's the shearing for this particular tree.
And what do you use to shear that with?
There's various pieces of equipment, but most of the time we have a hired crew come in, and they use what looks like to be giant bread knives. They're 36 inches long. They have an 18-inch handle and an 18-inch blade.
Serrated.
And when we go around the tree, we're going around with two knives like this, and we're walking around the tree like so. So what you're doing is you're constantly keeping the shape of the tree in a cone, and that's what gives the Christmas tree its shape.
Yeah.
Trees that grow in the wild, of course, they're all competing for the sunlight and for the nutrients, so their branches might go anywhere.
This is a beautiful tree, Gary. What is it?
This is a Virginia pine. This is the native species, and it comes across our particular zone, planting zone. So from the Virginias all the way out through Tennessee, southern Kentucky, northern Georgia, northern Alabama.
So if it were growing in the wild, again, it wouldn't have this pyramid shape, so it would be distinguished how? How would you tell?
Well, you tell a lot by its color. It has a very light green and sometimes yellowish cast, but it also has a very distinct smell. And you'll think that at times when you rub your hand in it and then smell it, you might feel that you're in a Florida orange orchard. It has almost a citrus kind of smell, which is much more prevalent during the Christmas tree season.
I smell that. Okay, well this is a beautifully shaped tree, and I actually see a culprit over here.
Yes, let's talk
with all
about
these
that.
needled evergreens. What do you do with Mr. Bagworm?
Well, when we see them, and at the right time of the year, we grab them off, and this one, we pluck it, and we just squeeze it.
He's already been
right, so he's out.
Yeah.
So he's out, but usually you get him at the right time of the year and the bagworm is in.
That's what I do too, squeeze them.
Squeeze them and get rid of them.
Squeeze the life out of them. Well,
That's
this
right.
is beautiful. Okay, now, this is the second variety of trees you have here.
And this tree, Annette, is sheared twice a year. So it was just recently sheared again. They are such prolific growers. So a tree this size is half the age of the tree that we looked at previously. So they really grow quickly.
this then could be an example of people could plant this in their yards here in Tennessee, right here in Lower Montgomery County.
Yes.
And it would make an excellent, because it's native and it's fast growing is the key word there. People are always wanting to cover things, so this would be a good tree.
Yes.
Okay. All right, now, the third variety.
The
Tell me
third
what that
variety, we have Scotch Pines.
is. Okay, well, let's go find one.
Okay, let's find a pretty one.
Okay.
We have about 6.5 acres of Christmas trees planted, and all in the variety that I mentioned, the Eastern White Pine, the Virginia Pine, and of course this Scotch Pine right here.
And you also have what I would say sustainable trees because you ball burlap some of them.
Yes, we do. Some of our clients love to plant a tree. And of course that can be a little tricky, so that's education in itself.
It is.
A ball and burlap tree does not need to stay inside the house very long. It needs to be acclimated to come into the home,
Right.
and it needs to be acclimated to come out to
It's
reduce
tricky.
shock,
It's tricky.
and then be planted.
Yeah. Okay, so now there's a natural shedding of the needles on all of these trees. When does that take place?
A lot of that is weather dependent, but it's mostly when new growth starts. So the new growth is coming, it's taking up the sunlight, it's dropping the older needles. And
Yeah.
as you can see, the Scotch pines are so dense. They're very short needled and sharp trees, similar to Frazier's.
Yes.
A lot of people like that. But of course, in this tree, you can tell it still has a lot of needles.
I call
So
this
in
bird
our-
nest in here.
Oh, yes. And what we do with these, of course, once the tree is cut and going home with our customer, we of course blow them out, get rid of the needles. You want to make sure your tree is clean, and you want to make sure your tree is very well watered. Once you cut a Christmas tree and you're taking it home, of course it might be on the top of your vehicle or in the back of your truck. But the last thing you want to do before you bring it into the house and set it up is cut another 1/4 inch off the bottom of that tree. That tree, once it's harvested, already starts skinning over, so it gets hard on the bottom, which doesn't allow it to accept water. And water and moisture is going to keep the foliage green, and it's going to keep the tree moist, and that's going to be for a very happy Christmas because of not only the color but the safety aspect as well.
Well, we've talked about keeping your trees healthy, and now I'm going to go visit with Linda to talk about keeping ourselves healthy with blueberries.
Very good.
So let's talk about your beautiful world of blueberries.
Okay, I have several varieties over there that have been here for 25 years, and they will last, if you take good care of them, about 40 years. Yes. So every year I get better at them as far as the pruning goes.
What do you spend your time doing as far as taking care of them?
Well, in the wintertime is when I do most of my pruning. And then weed control is a biggie. I do that all year round. So because I don't use chemicals on here, so there's no Roundup down here.
Right.
It's all right there.
You either weed eat and you do mulch.
And I do mulching. I use a lot of cardboard down, and then I use, the plants love acid, so I will use pine needles and sawdust that's been mellowed out for a couple of years.
Not green.
Not green, right. I like cow manure, but I will use horse manure, but again, I put that up there and I cover it with black plastic to kill it, to kill all those things that don't die naturally.
And that does take care of the weeds.
And then I lasagna it, layer it.
Familiar with that?
And this year I am trying some different ground covers, just kind of going to the end of the season when they're really inexpensive and seeing who works the best.
Oh, and
because I'm experimenting.
You're using herbs for a ground cover.
Yes.
That's interesting. We all like to extend our seasons with whatever.
Right.
Because we're growers. This is a blueberry that you will perform like that?
Right. The larger ones, the ones that have been here for several years, they come in during a 4-week time period, and then they're pretty well done. This will extend it out another 2 weeks. And my daughter promised me she would help take care of this extended time period, okay?
Well, but Mama can do it too.
Mama can do it too, but she promised me she would help me.
And this variety is?
This is an Onslow, so it's going to come at the end of the season, later on in the season. So probably everything, I don't know if you've noticed, has been coming in a week or 2 or 3 earlier.
Yes, I did.
So my plants generally come in, just right before the 4th of July. Now they're coming in the mid-June and early June.
The same varieties you've had for 25 years.
Right. They're coming in 2 or 3 weeks early. So hopefully these will come in end of August.
I believe you have some other sustainable things going on here on your farm.
Right. I have honeybees, and they help me. They increase my yield by about 30%. And then the other thing we're going to be starting this winter is getting the fields ready for about 2 acres of a butterfly food crop with milkweed and other things that basically the monarchs love to eat. We'll have to till some of it, okay? And probably burn it off first.
Yeah, that's
okay?
a good thing.
Then do some disking and then put in winter rye. And then the winter rye, what we'll do, I caught this at one of the classes I went to, and the winter rye will get about yay tall, and then you just flatten it down. It dies at the end of the winter, so it becomes a nice natural ground cover, and then you can put your seeds in and your plants in.
It's almost a mat, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
We're still getting all the logistics
stage.
from
I understand.
the agricultural folks. They'll help us through this. This is our first time doing this.
wonderful?
Oh, they are a great asset.
That is a good resource for anyone that lives in Tennessee where they have extensions. That's what our tax dollars go to help fund helping our small farmers, our home gardeners. And Linda, I think that you and Gary definitely have earned your award for the state of Tennessee and your manageability of your farm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing this beautiful day with us.
All right, thank you, Ann.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.